What's good, everybody, and Merry Christmas! Welcome back to the Messy Workbench. This is Valor once again, and this time I've got another thing sent to me by great friends of the channel, Monkeemods. It is the Worker Dominator. I know I'm a bit late to the party on this, but hear me out. Since I'm a little bit late to the party, I know all the shortcomings of all the pieces and stuff, like the frame and everything, which the biggest one was the squeaky trigger, but I fixed that easily by using a little bit of white lithium grease, as well as the magazine, which there are feeding issues that Ed Scar has talked about and everything, but I believe I know how I can fix this. But yeah, Monkeemods sent me the Worker Dominator. It is a 3-stage flywheeler that, you know, it's modeled on the sort of same strife geometry and such. And it looks beautiful, in my opinion. It has much, much cleaner lines than the Swordfish did, which I can actually grab a Swordfish because I have one right now that I actually bought ages ago. Since the Swordfish was meant to be sort of a Strife clone, and then they added their own sort of Swordfish, Marlin detailing, whatever, they're sort of limited by what they could do. But since the Dominator is its complete own thing, they were able to do some really cool designs. And I love the fact that it is not real steel looking. Like, I guess you could say the front end looks a little bit like a G36 and whatever, but overall it is a very, very svelte sci-fi package, even with a knuckle guard, which I love, which Wacom can attest to as well. But yeah, it is a great thing. My only other major gripe with it, currently, having untested it and everything, is that rev trigger. You have to push it so far before it actually actuates, which there are ways you can fix that, which I'll get into here in a minute. But yeah, the Dominator is meant to work with the 40 dart stick mag that they designed specifically for it, which I can see someone using like 2 or even 3 of these for HVZ, and they were using it in like a single stage mode. And that would last them the whole game pretty much, because in HVZ you don't typically use that many darts unless there's some sort of last stand or some sort of defense mission. Let's open it up. And yeah, I am very happy with the fact that they actually have mounts in it natively for the larger switches that we like to use in the hobby. But you can see, again, what I'm talking about here. See how it moves so far before it actually clicks that switch? There is a way you can fix that by just either using some epoxy putty to elongate the back of this switch here. I already removed the trigger lock. A little white lithium grease, it's a little old, that I used on here, but whatever, it works. But yeah, but whenever you use it, it actually goes all the way in and becomes basically flush with the blaster, which I don't like as much. I'm gonna have to see if the Strife rev triggers will work in this, and if so, then happy day. I can just use one of the the Bobo ones I like to use. It comes pre-installed with an extended mag release, which is their just standard Strife design. But yeah, another nice thing about this is you are still able to use regular magazines, which it comes with 2 plates. And they're marked, see, left and right. And it's really easy to install them. You just stick them in the magwell, press them into the holes. You can actually see the holes right there. There you go. And you can use, say, a 6 mag, which this is an old one from a Recon or whatever. Or even if you have it set up for it, you can use a Katana or the Talon mag system, which is forward-facing, which is optimized for flywheels already, which this one doesn't have an extended pusher. I'll have to see about getting one of those extended half-dart pushers for this thing if I felt like it, but I don't really see myself using flywheel half-darts because half-darts are not really optimized for flywheel systems. They're better for spring and air. But with like an 18 or a drum or whatever, if I just grab my 25 that I recently got thrifting, which was really nice for me because I actually lost my last 25 drum at HVZ. It's a little bit tight because of the ridge here, which is something that Worker might have wanted to look into, but that is an easy fix. if you just take this and grind out this ridge right here. Grinding out that ridge will allow you to use it with the knuckle guard and everything, and then you'll be able to use your lovely, lovely 25 drums, which it looks great in. And yeah, I'm going to also like to thank Monkeemods again because they sent this. And this. And this. Yeah, they apparently they wanted me to build this thing with 3 sets of Titan Hyperion motors, which are 2S, which is kind of nice. The only thing I'm not so excited about is this is the 43.5 worker cage, so that's stock geometry. It's just like throwing worker wheels in a stock one, but at least with the metal cage, it's going to be a little quieter. The only thing else I'm going to have to really do is modify one of these cages, or both of them, really, to have to shorten this guide here a little bit, and then chop off a little bit of this guide, and then completely get rid of this guide here, which means I'll have to pretty much, I'm not really destroying it, I'm just getting rid of all the useful things about this cage. But I'll get this thing all wired up on 2S and everything. I hopefully have a 2S that will be able to power it enough, because 3 freaking stages of Hyperion motors is going to draw a lot of amperage. But yeah, I will see you then. Alright, final thoughts time on the Worker Dominator. Impressions are positive. Set up with the 3 sets of the Titan Hyperion motors that were given to me by Monkeemods. Again, links down below. I'm getting quite good performance. Feeding with the included 40 dart stick is as everyone else has had experiences with, where worn darts will not be the most optimal thing to be throwing in this because of how darts are very squishy. At least foam darts. Boomco straws are another story. You could actually get away with doing a double stack mag of Boomco straws really, really easily. That's a thought for the future. But there are a few things that they could fix with this design, making the inside thinner and stuff, because of the way darts behave. But I see myself using it with the adapter plates more often, because I have a whole lot more magazines than I do anything else. And another thing is, like I've mentioned before, drums are not really easily usable. You have to take a Dremel or some sort of knife and carve out about an inch wide slot or just groove in the back of your magazine here. It's not going to affect the function or anything, it's just an aesthetic sort of cap piece. But with that, it just barely makes it past the handguard, and now I can run my Dominator with a 25 round drum, which, you know, I could see using that initially for HUZ. 35 round drums are about the same story. I mean, you can wedge them in, but they'll be a bit snug. But with the drum, you only have to really grind out the sides here, and then it'll fit sort of in the groove right here of the handguard. But that is a bit ridiculous running around. And you can run around with the Dominator as a pistol, it's just a bit front heavy because of all the flywheel cages and motors you have up front. You really need a stock to balance it out, and I found that a clear Raider stock works wonders on this. Though my Raider stock's a bit yellowed, I'm gonna have to retrobrite this. That'll be a project for the future. Might do a tutorial on how to retrobrite stuff, even though Hawkeye has a pretty good tutorial on it already, I believe. Might be good to have another option, you know. But I've got the 10 round sort of snipery mag, which is one of my favorite mags to use in this because it just looks really cool. And I'm sorry, headphone users, that was a bit loud, but yeah. I'm going to put a few shots through my chrono barrel. It's not the most accurate thing in the world, but it'll give me a general idea. And I've got a strife muzzle on here just to sort of keep things straight. But 167, 117, 146, 133, 132, 133, 163, 170, getting a little better. 102, that one, it kind of came out a little bit catawampus because it was a little angled. And that's another, a little bit of a jump cut there because I had to delete some files off my phone because I was running out of room. That is a detriment to my thing. I need to get a memory card to stick in my phone. Or even a proper camera, because that would be even better. But, as I was saying before, having all three stages of the flywheels be identical is not optimal. For a multi-stage flywheel setup, you really want the first two stages to be identical with higher crush and everything, because the first stage is to get it going. The second stage, ideally, would be to get it going about the same speed that the first one was trying to get it to, but, you know, drag and everything from pulling it initially. And then the third stage, which would be your afterburner, would be less crush and higher RPM. That way it could really zing it through. I've kind of learned this through, like, mathematically and from, like, experience with talking to people like Bobo, who has said the same sort of thing, where you really want the third set to be the higher RPM to really zing it through, which he's covered in his review of this. My review is more of a sort of what you can do with it. This is not the only time you're going to be seeing this on my channel, because I want to take this and make it beastly. There is a guy who is in the hobby, who goes by the name Ultrasonic2, who does brushless setups. He created the whole Ultra cage and everything for the Strife. And he has a cage made specifically for the Dominator and everything now, and he has it set up with his new Arduino programming app thing for the PC to program even multi-stage setups, and that will be really, really cool. And the idea is the first stage would be your initial setup with the higher crush, and then the second stage would be with a higher kV motor to get even higher RPMs at a lower crush, obviously, to really zing it through. It'll be a little bit more efficient than having 3 setups, and you'll be able to adjust the RPM and everything because you can mount switches and everything to the sides of this, because it's very, very clean on the side, so really easy to mount switches, unlike the Strife, which is a little bit more full of angles and such. Another idea I had was to take this and turn it into a bullpup, because having the grip right here with the mag right about there and having the stock be a little bit longer, obviously, would be a really cool thing. And I'd have to, obviously, maybe I wouldn't have to chop off the mag release, or not mag release, but the handguard here. But yeah, overall, I am very, very pleased with this shell, and it's given me a lot of ideas for what I could do. Oh look, there's even holes on the side for mounting worker rail. But yeah, my opinions are very, very positive. There are issues with the whole 40 dart stick thing, but that could be remedied. I expect the community to really get behind that and try to fix that issue, because having 40 darts in a stick is quite cool, because it's a whole lot easier to carry a bunch of these on you than a bunch of these, which these hold 5 less darts. And even in this, you could probably get even more darts into. I haven't even tried to fully cram it yet. But yeah, I still really like it. I'm going to throw a 3S in here now, just to really see what I can do with this, just because it's insane. Now, keep in mind, this LiPo is not optimal, because it's a little bit overdrawn by all these motors. I mean, I do have a MOSFET in the circuit and everything to try to make it so I don't melt my switch, but you know. And let's see how crazy it sounds. And I should have a dart right here. Yes, I do. And I'm not even going to crony this. I'm going to fire it off into the distance and see how crazy it is. Now, headphone users, watch out. That rocketed out with a vengeance. And yeah, that's a bit scary. These are obviously 2S optimized motors, so running on 3S will likely reduce their life. Now, say something like if you're doing this as a 3-stage, my idea would be to have the first 2 stages be something like Krakens or Neo Rhinos, or even Neo Hellcats, because the Dominator actually has room for 180 motors. Right now, the Hyperions are 132 size, quote unquote, which is the same size as the original Fang motor. But ideally, I'd want the first 2 stages to be identical setups with like either 42 or 42 and a half setups with Neo Rhinos, Neo Hellcats, something like that, and then having the revamped Fangs or something similar running on the 3S as well, and that would be your higher RPM afterburner at the end. But yeah, as ever, links down in the description below to Monkeemods, where you can find this as well as a bunch of other parts. They have loads of different parts. They have the original blue Serenity cages, which you can get, which I think would be really nice in this thing because you can see right through it. But I have plans for paint because this thing has a lot of nice shell detail. Like there are molded screws in, which, you know, they're not even real. You got real screws here. But it's largely flat, which lends itself to having nice sort of details and paint details and stripes and decals and that sort of thing, which the Swordfish didn't have because it had that fish on the side, which kind of was disappointing for painting, because if you wanted to paint it, you'd have to spend a lot of time using body filler to fill that in. But yeah, I keep rambling now. As ever, have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwezi Kwanzaa, Tip Top Tet, and a solemn, dignified Ramadan. Links down below. Thanks for watching.